Now, good afternoon, everyone. If you haven't joined any tours from Hungary yet, well, we are the people who take well timetables and deadlines loosely. So we are absolutely delayed. So we'll start when we start. But you know, as our experience was supposed to start at 2 p.m., well, one at least your content creator shall join on time. Well, let me know if you haven't met me before. Then I'll properly introduce myself. And actually, it's absolutely wonderful to see so many familiar names like Michaelas, Patricias, Dunias, and Gary. If you're new to my tours, then well, this is how I look like before I start um, suffering from the loosely understood timetables. So if any one of you actually enjoys seeing content creators struggling during a virtual tour, well, today is actually a great time to do that. And well, gray hair indeed. Well, I'm quite experienced, between 25 years old. So yeah, it is what it is. Well, Kathy, well, big welcome to your daughter. If she needs any inspiration what to do in Hungary, she may join my Facebook group, Captivating Hungary Through Adam's Eyes. And she can find lots of information about what's going on in the country, what is there to see, what is there to experience, and so forth. And that is going to be our engine, which will drive around our carriage, so that I will be at the very rear of our train, having an excellent view overlooking the forest of the Persian mountains. Mikhail's question, why is the train leaving? Basically, the train is leaving because, well, on the way downhill, obviously the engine was in the front, and it has to actually go around so that it can pull the carriage, our carriage and itself up to the hill, which means that it will come like this way. And since I'm standing in the very rear, we'll have some excellent views of our engine. I know that last year you were missing some shots of the engines that were pulling and pushing the children's railway. So today I wanted to make sure that we are not missing that part of the experience either. Of course, it's always an option that this train will just leave to the end station and we'll left behind. If railways workers have short memory, then that's also a possibility that will simply be left behind. And learning from experience, well, I also took a shot of the interior, which is full with kids, and my regulars may know that I'm not really into showing kids in the footage during my streams. So I posted one image of how the interior of this carriage looks like. That was one reason for me to come here 1 hour early. A big welcome to Martin and big welcome to Cora from Perth, and basically to everyone else who stayed up late in Australia to join this experience. Beth, indeed. Um, well, you won the title, the Punminator, for this experience. Um, some of you may remember that there were times when I took a river cruise and I was the only passenger on board, and basically the captain and the sailor thought that they have a day off, and the rest of the crew had to run for the captain, so we stuck at the port. Basically, this is one time when we stuck at the train station. So yeah, Hungary, the country where, well, you make plans and then you see how it actually works out. But you can consult Google Maps about where we are located, but that railways bridge is actually the railways bridge that serves the line between Slovakia and Budapest, and we are at the Kismaros station for the narrow gauge train line. Although this line started as a 600 millimeter wide line, well, during the 1970s it was redesigned to be 760 millimeter, but it's still a narrow gauge line. So we are departing from Kismaros, which has the population of a few hundred. Then we're gonna go through Sokoya just to arrive to Kiraivet, which is a good 35-minute ride from here. And, well, we have the stream as well on our side. And, you know, as the more water is around, the brighter the colors. So I thought that this line would be excellent for our leaf peeping experience. So a little bit about Kismaros itself. Well, Kismaros is a formal German settlement. It's one of the most recent settlements actually in Hungary. It was only founded during the 1700s when German-speaking colonists were brought into Hungary, basically to run the lumber industry and to work in the nearby quarries. The German ancestry, the German culture was so significant in Kismaros that even the village school was German-Hungarian speaking. It was a dual language school, not Hungarian German, but German-Hungarian. So the main language was German in this village until 1945, when after the Second World War, basically all German speakers, all Germans were considered enemy of the state, and they were forced to relocate from Hungary. And that's when Hungarian-speaking locals moved in, changing the ethnicity of Kismaros. Mika's question, how fast we are going? Well, the maximum speed of this train is below 30 kilometers an hour. So all cars will pass by us in a very easy fashion. And well, we are in the Virgin Mountains, which is a paradise of hikers. It's also one of the few old-grown forests of Hungary, and these small cottages and wooden structures are actually camps for schools. Katie's question, how many carriages there are? Well, actually two. We are now in the second, and I'll do my best to show you the carriage in the front. In the meantime, we actually arrived to station number 1, which is still the outskirts of Kismaros. So Kathy, I hope you got a nice picture of our entire train. Well, it's November, and basically in November the length of the train is half the size as during the summer. During the summer it's like 4 carriages, and when it comes to December, then the train goes with engine and 1 passenger carriage. Elizabeth's question, how is the weather here? Well, today is basically the only day of the week when the weather is not foggy and it's not raining. Some of you may remember that yesterday I had to cancel my tour due to the pouring rain. Well, for this once in a season leaf peeping tour, the weather decided to support us, to change in our favor. The outside temperature is 10-12 degrees Celsius by the river, and as we are climbing up to the Bergheim Mountains, it will drop with 1-2 degrees Celsius. Mikhail's question, when the line has been built? Well, this is one of the old lines in Hungary. The line was actually started to be built in 1893, and it's aimed actually to support the lumber industry of the Bergheim Mountains, which happened to be owned by the Esterházy family. That may be a familiar name for many of you. The Esterházys were one of the biggest landlords and most influential aristocratic families of Hungary. The line was 12 kilometers long. Well, in the entire Bergheim Mountains on the peak, there were 200 kilometers of narrow gauge train lines exclusively supporting industry, quarries, and well, basically the timber industry. Well, this line, like I said, was built in 1893 to serve a 4,000 hectares big private forest up in the Bergheim Mountains, starting at Királyréd, which is going to be our terminal today. So it was a private railways line. And actually, until the 1960s, there was no passenger traffic on this line. From the 1800s, there was one single steam engine, which was called Maria. And in the 1910s, 2 new railway steam engines were introduced. One was Tiglav, and the other one was Murci. Dunia's question, has the line been ever discontinued? Dunia, absolutely excellent question. Yes, in the 1970s. But the line has been discontinued basically because of a massive downpour that has washed away the quite a few sections of the line. And in the 1970s, basically it was fixed up. They were expecting 1 million passengers a year and 20,000 cubic meters of wood to be transported from the Bergheim Mountains down to the river Danube. So it was discontinued for a few months before it has been fixed up, and it also discontinued operating in 2019 and 2020. And well, in 2019, 2020, the entire line was fixed up, including the passenger carriages, the engines, and the tracks as well. So Dunia, excellent question. Keep on firing up your questions in the comment section. And Catherine, thank you very much for joining your first tour with me. The second station on this line happens to be Bergheim-Liget. Bergheim is the mountains that we are riding in between. And Bergheim-Liget is actually the suburbs of Kismaros, which was merged into Kismaros only during the 1960s. Verőce and Kismaros were merged also in the 1960s, but this marriage was not made in heaven. The 1st of January 1990, Verőce by the river Danube, and Kismaros, they split. Mikhail's question, and today it belongs to the Hungarian Railways? No, actually, this railways line is operated by the Forestal Management Company. So basically, it's privately owned and privately operated as well. And in the meantime, we arrived to our second village, to Sokoya. Sokoy may originate from Slavic languages, and now you will have an excellent view of our engine as we are crossing the road. So Sokoya is actually one of the oldest settlements in Hungary. The first written document of Sokoya dates back to 1168. Once again, 1168. And it is said that one of the 7 Hungarian tribes that came from the Ural Mountains to the Carpathian Basin, so one of the 7 tribes that actually settled in the area. And the tribes Falcons and Falcon Masters settled down here. And like I said, 1168 was the first time and this the name of this village has been first mentioned. The population of Sokoya, you may wonder, is actually 1,800. Irene's question, has it been an old woman's summer? Well, I would say that this is one of the rare, unique days when we enjoy an Indian summer indeed. Dumia's question, when did the railroad take on passengers outside of forestry? In the 1960s. So for most part of its history, between 1893 and the 1960s, it was only serving the timber industry and the quarries and the iron ore industry of the Virgin Mountains. Well, interestingly, the village of Sokoya that you can see across the street is served by local buses, by domestic buses, and also by this narrow gauge train line. So it is not just used by those who enjoy hiking, but it's also used as sort of like a mass transit line as well. Nola's question, the rail looks so narrow. Exactly. Instead of 1,460 millimeters, it is down to 760 millimeters. It is a narrow gauge train line. So once again, it's 760, but originally it started as a 600 millimeter narrow gauge line. So Sokoya, as opposed to the first village from where we departed from, has Slovakian ancestry. It used to be the home of aristocratic falconry, and well, during the 1700s, well, it was also taken part over by German-speaking colonists. It was the second time that it happened. Actually, back in the 1400s, King Sigmund and King Albert brought German-speaking miners from southern Germany to work here in the iron ore mines. But those mines were discontinued during the late 1700s, and forestry took over exclusively. Michael's question, is this considered a narrow gauge railroad? Yes. Anything that is narrower than 1,420 is considered narrow gauge. If any one of you would like to move in to this area, this house is on the real estate market. Out in the forest, not being disturbed by anyone. If you wonder how this area looks like during the winter time, I just posted one image of how the other engines, the MK48 engines, look like during the winter time. And I would like to point out the unique layout of this village. I posted another photo. Our train goes along the main street, which goes from the bottom right corner to the top left corner. And otherwise, the properties are quite long and narrow. And the old houses turn to the railway line and to the main street with only their side and not with their face. This pattern Laura, there you go. I was preparing for your questions. But this is not our engine. This is another type, the MK48 engine that runs on this line frequently. And as you can see on the second photo, the last photo that I posted, the line goes very close to the buildings. Well, it does not disturb the family's private life, because these houses do not face the street, the main street. They face basically their garden. So only the side of the house is overlooking the main road, and the old houses, which we have here on the corner. So these two windows belong to the clean room. Okay, so next two buildings. So these windows are belonging to the clean room, and next to the clean room there is the kitchen and the living room. And next to the living room outside, there is the horse depot. Next to the horse depot, the dry storage. So that's what you're gonna see the next building, which is one of the old buildings of Sokoya. So dry storage, and after the dry storage, the second unit starts, which is all like industrial. So dry storage, and then a place for the goats and the cows, followed by the garden and the structure for the haystack. And after the haystack comes the garden, where they grow, cultivate spices, root vegetables, and the rear end of the property is for fruit trees, dominantly for apple, pear, and so on. And for those of you who have German ancestry, this type of village is called Straßendorf. So basically the houses are running along one single street, and then the longer side to the left, and then to the right, as you can see on the last, one of the last images that I've shown to you. So this type of layout originates from southern Germany, from the 1100s, and after the Mongolian invasion it was introduced to Hungary as well with German-speaking colonists. So we are talking about the 1400s. And the single street village pattern was developed actually in Hungary to a multi-street pattern. So basically at the end of these long properties, there is another street, a secondary or tertiary street, and then I will answer the questions as well popping up in the chat. But those streets do not follow a straight fashion, because those were actually dirt roads, so it's more like an organic fashion. But these properties, they run up on the hill, and then the next properties will go down from the dirt road. Michael, yeah, it was all the Habsburg Empire once. And let me see, Carla, has there been any derailments on this line so close to the homes? No. No derailments that I know of. And I did quite a thorough research work, as hopefully you've noticed, while I was preparing for this tour. Susan's question, so does the train also carry freight? Yes, dominantly this line was designed to carry freight, to support the timber industry, to support the quarries where we were mining construction materials, dominantly limestone. Susan, thank you very much for the question. So feel free to fire up your questions in the comment section. Otherwise, we continue enjoying the autumn foliage. And Michal's question, how did I get here from Budapest? Well, first things first, the first leg of my journey was to the train station in Budapest, and then I took the train running between Budapest and the Slovakian border to get to Kismaros, which takes about an hour. And then to make sure that I won't, miss the connection, I came an hour earlier so that I could take some photos of the interior that I posted in the chat at the beginning of the tour. So you may want to scroll up a little bit. So I waited an hour and 20 minutes for this departure. It takes 35 minutes to climb up to the terminal, and well, obviously I'm gonna miss my train on the way back, so I'm going to stuck in the valley for 2 hours before I can return with the last departure back to Kismaros, waiting for the connecting train and back to Budapest. So the earliest I can get back is slightly after 6 p.m. today. Nicholas' questions, yeah, it's exactly a day trip, yeah. Well, so just to give you an idea, during from the 1910s till the 1970s, there were 70 freight carriages a day that these steam engines, and as of from the 1960s, diesel engines, transported down to the river Danube, to the freight station of Veruce, or to the freight station of Kismaros, where they either loaded them on barges or they loaded them on freight carriages of the national railways. But as of from the 1970s, like I mentioned, this line only serves passenger traffic. And the streamlet that you could see at the beginning of our tour right next to our track is only a few meters away from us to our left-hand side. Many of the houses that we pass by actually welcome hikers for an overnight stay as well, which is one of the main income for people living both in Kismaros and in Sokoya as well. And we are actually arriving to the engine house of the line. And well, you can also see the freight carriages. That proves the point that this line was once dominantly used to transport lumber. So this would be the engine house, where the rest of the engines are maintained and kept dry. There is one engine that uses solar energy, exclusively solar energy, and they also have a steam engine as well. And well, across the street, that would be one of the largest so that would be one of the largest factories, largest sites where we cut trees for industrial purpose. You may wonder actually why forestry and the timber industry was so significant in Hungary. Well, after the Ottomans had been kicked out during the late 1600s, the country had to be rebuilt literally from its ashes. And it was at most important to have construction materials implanted and, the flow of construction materials would be undisrupted. And that's when the biggest forests, like the Virgin as well, were cut into humongous portions so that professional forestry can be arranged. Forestry was not just done by aristocratic families. The Roman Catholic Church was knee-deep in the industry. The Diocese of Vác, where we had tours before, and also the Diocese of Esztergom was in the timber industry as well. And well, to ease the transportation of lumber, well, as soon as it was technologically possible, narrow gauge train lines were built. Michael's question, what is the approximate train speed? It is between 20 and 30 kilometers an hour. Michael asked for the interior image. So there you go. Wooden benches, and in the dead center of our carriage there is a fireplace, a little fireplace that, of course, well, heat is provided by burning wood. And we are just about to arrive to Királyréd, which has the permanent population of exactly 22. Királyréd is basically the center of an old royal hunting resort. It is said that King Matthias and his Italian wife from Naples, Beatrix, really fancied spending time here. And in the nearby lakes, Beatrix also could enjoy some solitude. Well, time for us to get off. So you can see how many people actually use this train, how many hikers came up here today. And since the last departure in 2 hours is already in pitch dark, well, those hikers who have common sense, well, they take this train back. Henny says, could I do one in winter when snow is everywhere? Well, it is very difficult to predict when we have snow in Hungary. And honestly, this is a rather expensive experience. I mean, the real life expenses is quite high. So I am not quite sure that without the wonderful support of Heygo, this experience would be ever like repeated. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I would say highly unlikely, but we shall cross our fingers that Heygo will continue and Voyagers will, support my mission of introducing you to the beauties of the Hungarian countryside. Mikhail's question is: the children's will be easier in winter? Yeah, it is significantly easier. However, according to Heygo, that experience of mine is also not viable from the financial point of view. What was the question? Janice's question. What does it cost? Well, basically, it costs from 12 p.m. till 6 p.m. So it costs a lot of time. And then, for train tickets, the most expensive part is obviously time that an experience of such soaks up. Michael's question: is this private or state railway? The forest train of Királyréd and Kismaros is operated by the Forestal Management Company, so it's private. Well, Barbara, thank you very much for complimenting the the scenery. So we're gonna stay a little while longer. Yeah, so sorry. There are a lot of comments and I had to get off also from the train, so I may have missed some questions. So during the 1400s, King Matthias and Beatrix came here on a regular basis. King Matthias basically to hunt, and Beatrix to enjoy the lakes in the close proximity of this terminal. Ever since, there is a hunting castle here, and today that castle is used for as an educational building for those who are coming here for a school trip. So this was our engine. Those of you who missed the very beginning of the tour. So it has a driver's seat on both ends, and it has to go around the passenger car so that it can return back to the River Danube. Well, Adam, thank you very much for saying that it brought back fond memories. Well, besides making you hungry for Hungary, this is the other purpose of my tours, that should you've been to Hungary or you have Hungarian ancestry, well, you can get a introduction to Hungary, and you can reconnect with your memories. Sharon, if you've been to Esztergom, it's absolutely lovely. I've mentioned that during the 1700s, 1800s, one part of the Berzseny forest was actually owned by a diocese of Archdiocese of Esztergom. They were also in the fishing industry, in the timber industry. They were also cultivating wine grapes. Just to, provide wealth for the Archdiocese. No last question. The guy on the train switched the track? Yes. Well, it's a forest train, so the staff does a lot themselves. So there is no staff here at the top station. One can only buy tickets on the train, so it goes with a conductor and with a engine driver, and they do everything themselves, switching the tracks, taking care of safety, and so on and so forth. So it's really like a two-man job. And I must say that I have a lot of extra information about this train line and the villages that we have passed by. I plan to share it with you guys in my Facebook group, which happens to be Captivating Hungary Through Adam's Eyes, so that all my research will benefit you. So if you would like to learn more, if you would like to see more, then kindly join that group. And we have unlimited time to talk about Hungary. Yeah, Sharon, the thing is that when it comes to countryside tours come with a lot of preparation. The ones you see are the ones where the preparations actually showed good signal strength. And there are dozens of other experiences that cannot, happen because there is no signal strength. But it doesn't mean that, me or my fellow excellent content creators on Heygo didn't try. So when you consider financially supporting a content creator on Heygo, consider this as well, that there are many failed tries before one experience can, come to life. Adam, if you've been to the city of Queens, then that was Veszprém. And Veszprém is on my list. There is even an experience on Heygo, but the castle of Veszprém is currently being rebuilt. The castle will only open in 2023. So Sharon, basically, to make sure that I can deliver this tour as is today, I had to invest a whole day so that I could come here, test the signal, figure out which side I should be on, and I would like to point out that the engine driver was super nice, and he even waved at you guys, so you may want to wave back. So, since it's only us left on this platform, it's time for me to say goodbye to you guys. So enjoy, Heygo. Check out my lovely colleagues' experiences. Mike in Chicago, Aaron and Patrick in New York, Olga in Kiev. Check out their experiences. They all deserve your attention. They all deserve your financial support as well. They put together amazing experiences. So continue traveling on Heygo, and I shall see you actually on Tuesday for a shorty but goodie, and we're gonna check out a huge Lego lion that actually mimic the Cambridge's lions in Budapest. So that's my next shorty but goodie tour is about. See you soon. Until then, stay safe and stay healthy. Ciao, ciao.